Thanks, Darcy. All right, to sports. Men's hockey lost its third consecutive game on Saturday versus Salem State 5-2. Dalton Jay and Taylor Murphy tickled the twine for the Owls. Come out and support your Owls this Saturday at 5:30 down at Amelia Park. They're facing Becker College. Men's basketball stayed perfect over the weekend, winning both of their games in the Pioneer Valley Basketball Classic. Westfield beat Springfield College 68-54 on Friday night, with 22 points scored by Lee Vasquez and a dominating performance on the glass by Matt Devine, grabbing 18 rebounds. On Saturday, beating Elms College 76-54, where Matt Devine became the second player this season to surpass the 1,000 career point mark. Lee Vasquez was the other player this year who did it in the opening game. The next home game for the boys basketball team is December 12th at 7 p.m. against Linden State College. And it's all squared away in college football. The national championship has been set in stone. Notre Dame will be taking on the Crimson Tide of Alabama in Miami. The Tide beat Georgia in the game of the century. Alabama was able to spark a comeback in the second half to take the lead. They were also able to stop Georgia from scoring with about 25 seconds left in the game, deep in Alabama territory. The final score was Alabama 32, Georgia 28. In the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs were able to get their second win of the season against the Carolina Panthers last Sunday. This is more of a story because of what happened the night before. Linebacker Jovan Belcher took the life of his girlfriend and then drove to Chiefs facilities where he thanked head coach Romeo Crennel and general manager Scott Pioli, who was with the Patriots before he took his own life in front of the two men. Crennel took some heat for deciding to play the game, but his team supported his decision and went out to honor their teammate. The motive for this shooting has still yet to be released. The Patriots continue to do what they always do, and that is to clinch AFC East titles. With their win over the Dolphins on Sunday, the Patriots have claimed their 10th AFC East crown since 2001. However, their season still goes on as they have two tough tests coming up at home. They play the top-seeded Houston Texans this coming Monday night on Monday Night Football on ESPN. Then the following week, they remain in prime time as the 49ers of San Francisco roll into town on Sunday night. These next 2 weeks should show us how real this Patriots team is and if they have what it takes to be playing into February. Looking forward to spring sports? I am. The Red Sox filled their void at first base on Monday with the signing of Mike Napoli. Napoli, who also plays catcher, will get $13 million a year for 3 years. He comes over from the Rangers after leading them in batting average in their playoff push last September. He should be a middle-of-the-order guy for the Red Sox. He also has a capability of putting the ball off the monster in left field. The Red Sox are also hoping that the market for Rangers outfielder Josh Hamilton falls through so that they can make a push for him. The Sox, who currently have a hole in the outfield, are pursuing Hamilton, but are still undecided on the asking price from his agent. With Cody Ross still unsigned and drawing interest from other teams, including the Yankees, the Red Sox could end up with Hamilton as their everyday right fielder. Also, the Red Sox made another signing as they signed Dodgers outfielder Shane Victorino to a 3-year deal of also $39 million. So with that, it seems very unlikely that Cody Ross will be back in a Red Sox uniform. And that's going to do it for this week in sports. Back to you in the studio. We're very blessed to be able to see 3 World Series where people in front of us have not seen any. But the thing that impressed me most, Mike, about the Red Sox game, the whole series, actually the whole playoffs, is that every night it seemed to be someone different stepping up, whether it was Nava, David Ross, Johnny Gomes. You could never really predict what was going to happen. And I'd just like to hear your thoughts on what you think about that, and I guess your perspective on the game last night.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a team rejuvenate a city like this?
No.
I literally was sitting there pulling for this team the whole time.
Something I heard Gomes say that I thought was interesting is they didn't put the city on their back; they got on the city's back because that whole Boston Strong thing really, really carried them through.
They've been doing that. I know that ESPN's been spotlighting what they did for the Whip City people. Not the Whip City people. That's the Boston Strong people affected by the marathon. And I thought that was really touching. But someone who doesn't get a lot of credit is Ben Cherington. He's the one who put the team together, and this is his 3rd year.
Fantastic
job.
Shane Victorino.
I don't know. I think that the Chiefs are 7-0. The Broncos are 7-1, or 6-1, something like that. So I think if the Pats can somehow secure home field advantage throughout, then they can make it to the Super Bowl.
That's going to be tough, though.
I think they can.
Especially Chiefs, they don't have a loss yet.
They don't, but they play the Broncos twice. So I think that with Tom Brady as their quarterback, Gronkowski coming back healthy, Amendola, you get Vereen back in a couple weeks after the bye. I think this team has what it takes to get to lead back on the defensive side. This team has what it takes, if it is home, that they can make it to the Super Bowl. I'm
Doing
waiting
pretty
for
well, hopefully.
I'm waiting for the coaches poll to come out in the MASCAC. They tend to take a vote on who's going to play, or excuse me, who's going to be in the championship game. But I think hands down, I watched all the games last year as an announcer, and they have the talent to win the whole thing this year. They're definitely going to run the table, I think. They're behind Powers and McCadden, the two goal scorers they have on their first line. I don't see them losing many games.
Rookie of the year and MVP coming back.
Absolutely. Yeah, this Westfield team didn't really start out the way they wanted to. They're 1-4 guys. 0-2 at home. You definitely want to be able to protect that home ice at Amelia. Their goal scorers are not doing well. McCadden and Powers having a real tough time getting things going. Powers led the team in points last year, 0 goals so far. McCadden with the lone 1. Definitely not what you want to see from your major line there. They're 1-1 in conference play. Lost to Framingham, which Framingham was the bottom of the barrel last year. But then they come out and they beat Salem 8-5. 2 players had hat tricks, the captain, senior Vince Perot, and the freshman Jackson Leaf, who's looked really promising here so far. Goaltending's been a little bit iffy for them as well. Perrier, 109 saves, 14 goals against. Davies had a few games to play to prove himself, 3 goals against, 57 saves. As you see, that's a lot of shots in 5 games for both goalies. Defense needs to step it up a little bit. And they also need to do a better job of clearing the puck out of the defensive zone. But they have a big conference game coming up tonight and a few more next week, so it should be interesting. All I just want to say is the 2 games the Pats lost this year, 2 of the 3 games the Pats lost this year have been blamed on the refs. That bogus call about touching a defender, pushing him, trying to block a field goal. How you call that and lose the game to the Jets, mind you, that's just pathetic. And 2, this week with that thrown flagged and picked up, all I want to say is I looked up at an identical play in 2008. It was the Browns and the Lions. Mm-hmm. Lions did the same thing where the ball was intercepted, but the wide receiver was hit. They threw the flag, pass interference. Lions got the ball at the 1 in the 4th quarter. There was no time left on the clock. They scored. Should have been the same thing for the Pats. NFL needs to be more consistent.
That was a bit different, though, because didn't the wide receiver go to the ground?
He did, yes, but I just think that the NFL is becoming a lot more like the NBA.
Well, how about